All right, President Trump in California putting the sanctuary state on notice over the policy he claims put our nation at risk. GOP Senator Marco Rubio joins us now to weigh in. Senator, pretty wild scene as the president checks out prototypes. Last week, the Attorney General was taking on a state. It's the United States versus California. Where do you stand when it comes to sanctuary states and cities?
Yeah, states need to follow federal law. I don't know what's so complicated about it. I don't even know why that's controversial. If you don't agree with the federal law, that's why you have 2 senators, and in California, dozens of members of Congress come up here and change the law or try to change the law, but you have to follow the law. It's just that simple. The federal law, you can't have states are not countries. They have their own jurisdiction under the 10th Amendment in our Constitution on certain matters, but on something like national security and immigration, that is a federal topic. And they got to follow federal law. It's as simple as that. How important is it to follow through if you're Attorney General Sessions and allow ICE agents full access? If a state can push back on federal authorities, this country crumbles if we don't listen to federal laws. Yeah, that's right. And so, look, I'm one of the first people out there that's pushed back against federal overreach on things like education and things of that nature. But this is a purely federal function. This would be equivalent to California saying we're going to sign a treaty with China and we don't care what U.S. foreign policy is with regards to that. Well, it's the same thing here. This area of law belongs to the U.S. government at the federal level, and California does not have a right as a state to ignore it. And it has to be enforced, and I'm glad they're enforcing it.
Let's move over to guns if we can. And Senator, this legislation put forward by the states, you guys, along with Senator Nelson, are encouraging a red flag gun law. So we have somebody in our midst who hasn't necessarily violated the law, but all people around him know, or her, but I haven't seen that yet, that this person could potentially be a danger, but the state hasn't been empowered to act. What does the red flag gun law do?
Well, it allows somebody to go to court, either a family member, someone that lives with you, or law enforcement, present evidence to a judge, clear and convincing evidence that this person is a danger to themselves or to others, and then the judge can issue a restraining order, the way you do with domestic violence, the way you do with all kinds of other things that keeps that person from buying any guns and takes away the ones they have. But you got to go to court. There's due process. It's not you can just show up and knock on the door and get it done. And if something like that had been available in Florida, you could potentially see where someone would have used that. Because yesterday, one of the fathers here, Ryan Petty, who is the father of Elena Petty, one of the 14 students that died at Stoneman Douglas High School, said that this killer was the worst kept secret in Parkland. Everybody knew this guy was a problem. As soon as the shooting happened, everybody knew who he was, and yet somehow he was still in the school system, had never been arrested despite multiple visits to his home. We're still not clear where he was in the school discipline chart, but I mean, if you look at just the reporting on what this person did, everybody knew that this guy was a problem. Not only was he still around these kids, this guy was able to buy guns, and there was no way to stop it. And of course, there was no follow-up on those calls to the FBI and the sheriff's office either.
I love this. NRA, have they weighed in?
Well, I don't know what their position on it would be. We haven't spoken to them about it. My sense from my, knowing about where they stand is they would want to see strong due process protections, and we all agree with that. I mean, the Second Amendment is a constitutional right, and just like you cannot deny a constitutional right without due process to prove that that person's forfeited that right, and that would exist here. Judges would have to sit there. They have to be clear and convincing evidence. You have to present it to a judge and make a clear case. And it's not permanent, by the way. It's got to be extended every 12 months or so the person, can always come back and re-examine whether circumstances have changed.
Yeah, I love this because mental health is this thing, and law enforcement needs to be empowered to do what they're trained to do. I hope this passes. Senator Marco Rubio working with Senator Nelson on this. Thanks, Senator.
Thank you.